on? It's the boy Young LA, Mr. A9. We in here with my personal partner, Mikey T, the movie star. You see what I'm saying? And this report card radio, so you need to tap in, turn it up, get your grades up. Let's go. Thank you. Hey, brother, man. Hey, I thank you for having me here, brother. It's all Gucci.
That's right, man. Welcome to Report Card Radio, Young LA. You know, I pretty much watched your whole career unfold in front of my eyes. You know, it's a good time to be alive, bro. In our lifetime, when we get to watch, in our lifetime, we get to watch people like Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce,
right,
Young LA, T.I., all of your careers. I watched them unfold right in front of my eyes. You know.
Wow, bro. Wow, that's dope, bro. That's dope, man. And it's glad to be here with you and actually be on the line with somebody who's a fan of the art, who understands the artistry. You know what I'm saying? And that's just dope, man. Something when you can come out and have an effect and really set trends and bring a culture with you. You know what I'm saying? Not just your music, but just your whole lifestyle and turn it into a way of life, man. I tell you what, man, that's a big thing. Black boy, white boy, Leland Austin, baby, let's go.
So, let's take it back, man.
Yeah.
Where are you from exactly, LA?
I'm from the 3. They call it Zone 3.
Yep, Zone 3.
Zone 3. That's Southeast Atlanta. So, in between Zone 6 and Zone 3. Like, right in the middle. Well, really, they used to say Thomasville was on the borderline of Zone 6. You know what I mean? But I'm right there by Zone 6, too. So, a lot of my family from Zone 6, Glenwood Avenue, East Lake Meadows, the whole Zone 6. You see what I'm saying? So,
that's what's up. So, explain it to me. Like, what's the difference between a Zone 6 and a Zone 3, per se?
Really, man, everything broke it down in Atlanta by the police precincts. You see what I'm saying? So, every name of the zone is just a police precinct. And that's how we got the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Zone 1, that's Bankhead area. They police precinct is the Zone 1 precinct. You see what I'm saying?
So what was it like growing up in Atlanta, LA? Take me into it, man. Was it a lot of fights? Was it a lot of drug dealing, corruption?
Man, born and raised at Grady Hospital, and when you grow up with all your cousins and you grow up in a house full of kids, it's always fighting. You know what I'm saying? It's sibling fighting. It ain't even more of the fighting you don't know. It's goddamn you and your cousin can't stop fighting every damn day y'all get out of school. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So, we grew up, and that was a part of, just growing up. You know what I mean?
Who are some of the people from Atlanta, who are some of the people that you heard of, some of the people that you looked up to and, modeled yourself out of from Atlanta when you were early on?
For me, in my era, it was Andre 3K for me. I kind of patterned myself after Andre 3K, not with my flow or nothing like that, or not with even my look. Andre brought different. He had a lot of individuality and personality. He was comfortable in his skin, and I kind of took that same kind of approach. Like, hey, I'm coming out with this futuristic shit. I'm on this futuristic Leland, this black boy, white boy shit. Ain't nobody at the time when I'm coming out. I didn't see nobody on that wave in the industry, and I said, that's what I'm gonna attack. That's gonna be all me. That's gonna be my thing, And like I say, I got a lot of that from just watching Andre wear the big shoulder pads in the Outkast video with the crazy pants. Like, it just was something about, his come across that made him a superstar. And I said, you know what? I want to be bigger than music. I want my aura. I want I want my fashion, my style to just say superstar. You see what I'm saying? So I always tried to be different.
That must be why you used your voice, in different ways to like sing. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, just the harmonic melodies. You know what I'm saying? At a time when, I came right in after street, trap rap. Like, even though trap is still here, not saying that, but I'm saying at that time I was coming behind the Gucci Mans and the Young Jeezys and the T.I.s. These are the guys who were ahead in Atlanta. You see what I'm saying? And my style was totally opposite, than what they had seen. It was totally different. It was almost like, what the hell this little young boy doing? Who the hell he think he is with the black boy, white boy shit? And they couldn't. It was kind of hard to grasp it, man. But you got to go through that. When you setting new trends and you trying to do some different shit, you going to go through that. Everybody not going to understand it off the rip. But now I look up and I feel like it definitely has touched the culture.
Did you ever get a chance to actually chop it up with Gucci, man?
Yeah, that's my brother, man. Yeah, Gucci, like, that's one of the things that motivated me in the beginning. That hey, Gucci was already hot with Zaytoven. Like, they had the streets on smash already. It was so icy and all these things and different mixtapes. They was on fire. And I was working with Zay at that time. If anybody really know LA and know my career, everybody know I started with Zaytoven. Before Grand Hustle, before Young Dro, T.I., before even it was a Ain't I, it was Zaytoven. And Zaytoven was the company of the Gucci Mans, the OJ the Juice Mans at that time, the Young Ralphs at that time who had Smash hit. So I was coming up under that. So I was already being groomed, you know what I'm saying? So, Zay basically used to just play my shit for Gucci when he used to come through the basement. Like, boy, I'm working with this new young nigga from Thomasville. He hard. Check him out. And just put my shit on. And, like, Gucci was digging my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, to the point where it got to, like, Gucci would come pick me up from my projects to Thomasville Heights. Gucci had pulled up out there on more than one occasion. You know what I'm saying? To come pick me up. We go to the studio, that was big for me at that time, because Gucci was like the biggest, you know what I'm saying? At that time in the streets, what him and Zay was doing, they was really on a breakout, and Gucci was stamping himself. So, to have Gucci coming to pick me up out Thomasville, my hood, seeing that, it just brought, like, man, we can really do this shit. Shit it might not be too bad after all. You see what I'm saying, bro? And I, just shout out to Gucci for seeing something in me, at least seeing the talent if he didn't see anything else. And attaching itself to me at that time. You know what I mean? I got much love for Guwap.
So was that before your deal with T.I., or was it prior to your deal with T.I., or was it during it?
Nah, it was prior to my deal with T.I. Because Gucci Man was the first one coming looking for me. Guwap was the first one. Before Dro ever pulled up in the projects to come look for me, Gucci had already been coming to pick me up, and you know what I'm saying? And then I had a mixtape with Zay that I had did just by doing songs, and that shit got out. We put the mixtape out. We made like 500 CDs and just scattered them around the Zone 3 area. And Young Dro ended up getting a hold of the CD. That whole CD was produced by Zaytoven, so you can imagine what kind of beats was on it. You can imagine the production, and you got this new little young cat, Young LA, and I'm bouncing on it like ain't nobody bouncing on the Zay beat. So the sound was like a new sound. And Dro, he got the CD, and I know he liked it, the music or whatever. Me and him was able to meet. He was able to pull up on me for real in the bricks. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of went from there, bro. That's like the legend of how this shit began.
So, can you take me into where your relationship with T.I. began?
My relationship with T.I. began at Grand Hustle Studios, the old Grand Hustle Studio, which is now Street Exec Studio. But that's where my relationship began. Actually, man, it's so crazy. The first day I ever seen Tip in person, I was there to meet everybody at Grand Hustle. Dro had brought me up to the studio. I had my one mixtape on me. You know what I'm saying? Because at this time, it's T.I., man. So it's like I'm a kid in the candy store, like, waiting to, I got my mixtape. It's like, oh, shit, you know what I mean? And actually, I walked in the B room, and I was sitting in the B room, and Tip walked in the B room. He didn't know me at that point, but, his first words were, he threw up the peace sign, like, yo, bro, what up? You know what I mean? And walked back out the room. But this was my first time seeing him. And that's where the relationship began. Because, like I say, I was at Grand Hustle to play the mixtape that had caught Dro attention. You know what I'm saying? For all the executives at Grand Hustle. At this time, I'm still in the project, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm still in Thomasville Heights. I'm still in Zone 3. Dro came to get me, and we went up to the studio. We played the records, and that day, man, I solidified myself. You know what I'm saying? That day was a big step for me. That day was a big day for my career. You know what I'm saying? It was the introduction, and it was the rollout for me. And I felt like at that time, man, T.I. was the biggest. That was the biggest. You talking about being signed with an artist and a professional. To have a chance to experience being signed with a guy like T.I. At that time was irreplaceable experience. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't say enough, but I know I had the star power and I was where I was supposed to be. You know, I tell you what, when I signed that deal with Grand Hustle, no shortly than eight months later, the world knew who I was. The world knew I had the potential, not just T.I., not just Young Dro. So everything they thought about me and everything they seen in me, they were correct about it. I was the star they seen, and it started to show all over the Billboard charts and everywhere in the entertainment industry.
How did you go on to form a relationship with this guy and later go on to record Ain't I?
Well, a lot of that shit came from me already putting in work in the streets. See, I came up in an era where you had to go to 3 or 4 clubs a night. You couldn't be hot in Atlanta if nobody seen you. It's different now with, the social media and the tools that you got. You can hide behind social media. You really don't got to come out and network in the streets. Well, man, when I came up, my era, if you didn't go to 3 clubs a night, you was not hot in Atlanta. If the city didn't see you at 3 different spots and you weren't then you weren't hot, because the guys who was hot was the guys who did the leg work. So what I mean when I say that is we had put in so much leg work on Ain't I. If you remember, it was 3 versions of Ain't I. Before T.I. and Dro even got on Ain't I, the first version was me and Dashay. Me and Dashay. And Dashay is like Dro cousin. Because at this time, I was just signed to Grand Hustle, and I was basically stuck in the recording room and told to produce. That's basically what it was. Like, everybody wanted to see, okay, we signed this guy. What can he produce? What can he do? And so a lot of my sessions, Dro wouldn't be there because he was hot at the time. You had Best Thing smoking, like he out of town, he doing shows, Tip busy, they gone. I'm just the new guy in the studio recording cuts. But I tell you what, one day me and Dashay recorded this cut called Ain't I, and shit ain't never been the same for me ever again in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
When me and Dashay recorded that record, we knew we had one. And so Tip had a club called Crucial. It's the infamous club in Atlanta called Club Crucial. It's on Bankhead Highway. Well, me and Shay decide, hey, we're going to go make sure we perform this in Crucial. So what started to happen, every time we performed the record, the response was so crazy. And it went from me doing the Grand Hustle open mics, and I would win every, 3, 4, 2 months straight. Like, Ain't I was we breaking it. And by the time we had a short situation with that Shay ended up going down the road, you know what I'm saying? He had to go do some time. And Grand Hustle made an executive decision to take Dashay off the record and now put Big Country on the record. You watching Ain't I unfold in front of your eyes. So now Big Country is on the record. So now I actually have a Grand Hustle artist on the record with me.
PSC.
Big Country King. Shout out to PSC, Pimp Squad Click. Because at that time, Big Country King and PSC, they was on fire. You know what I'm saying? That was Pimp Squad Click. I grew up listening to Big Country and Matt Boney. You know what I'm saying? Listening to PSC. Seeing how they came up. And when Country got on that, it kept growing. So what happened was when Big Country got on the record, I started going on the road immediately with Big Country. I was getting 1,500, 2,000 a show, and people didn't even know it. Like, it was like Tip and Dro, like, hold on, he already getting paid show? You know what I'm saying? And I mean, when that song came on Country Set, it did the same thing every time that it did, every time I performed it. It went crazy. And from there, once the record got so big, it got to the radio. Like, they started playing it in the mix shows on the radio stations. It just started spreading, bro. And it spread enough to catch the attention of Dro and T.I. You know what I'm saying? And when it got to that level, it was like they had no choice but to come get on that song because it just made sense for business at that time, And when them guys jumped on it, we had #1 song in the country.
Were you around Grand Hustle when BG was actually with the camp?
Yeah, BG was my man. I was the one he called as soon as he come in town for the street shit. You know what I'm saying? The pharmaceuticals and shit. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I was his go-to man. That's my boy though, man. Like TC from Chopper City. That's how I got on the song with BG, TC, and Bun B, and Yo Got It.
So tell me a little bit about BG and how he was rocking with Grand Hustle, man.
BG authentic, man. Like, he's just one of them ones, bro. He remind me of myself because it's like, you get them kind of artists who just remain humble, man, and just remain approachable. And just like he never went big, he never went arrogant. Like he was approachable, he was humble. Like a guy who really been through something, like a street guy who really appreciate. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really. He was just a real individual, bro. That's all. He was just real, bro. And just being around BG, being a fan of the Hot Boys, and just seeing that, growing up on that shit in middle school and shit like that, and just being his presence to be on records with him. They need to free him ASAP.
Could you tell me what type of a relationship that BG had with T.I.? Did you ever get to see them in the studio together?
I just know, man, BG was around a lot. When they was putting that venture together with the Chopper City with T.I., I know BG was around a lot. Yep. He definitely was.
Too Hood for Hollywood is what it was called.
Man, listen, man, don't play with BG, man. You can't put no cap on that boy. No cap.
Free BG. Shout out my guy Hot Boy Turk, man. He always be keeping me updated,
Shout out Turk. Shout out TC. I just had a chance to see Turk the Super Bowl we lost Atlanta when we went out, man. I hate to say it on this big interview, but though the infamous Super Bowl, we was up 28-3 or something like that, man. And it didn't turn out good for us. But that same day, I seen Turk that day at my manager Johnny Cabell house. So shout out to Turk. And like I say, I've been around the greats, and can you imagine just being around 8 Ball?
Facts, man.
Come on, man. It's ball right here, man. MJG, that speaks volume.
LA, I wanted you to tell me about when you first got the deal with Interscope Records. Could you break down that situation for me?
Shout out to Tubby. Tubby did that deal over there at Interscope. He was close friends with some execs over at Grand Hustle. Amir Boyd, who was working radio, Jason Jeter, those guys, and hey, he came to Atlanta, man, and seen what Ain't I was really doing in person. I think he came to a club one night, and the record was like, I think the remix had just leaked. And when he came and seen the performance at the club, it was a done deal, bro. That's all it took. Ain't I had got so much leg power up under it. By the time Tip them got on it, it was already the biggest record in the streets before Tip them was on it. So, at that time when Tubby came, he seen, I didn't have to say no words. I didn't have to do nothing but dance on stage. That's it. The crowd said every word for us, Yeah. And when Tubby seen that, immediately we flew to Cali. Immediately we flew to LA because T.I. was out there on some filming stuff, That's when he was filming a lot of movies, Takers. He had like a 3-movie deal, you know what I'm saying? And he was out in LA doing a lot of that. And I got to bump into him, while I was out there on my business signing my deal. And he said, hey, man, you here now. You in the big league, but you got a lot more to go. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot more to do. And I now understand exactly what he was saying,
Yeah. Could you take me into when T.I. was marketing you to the masses? What do you remember most about your push?
I remember going to New York at functions with T.I. Well, he's on the front of the Vibe magazine, and it's crazy. And at that time I was signed to him, and I'm like the hottest artist in the fucking world right now. And so Tip would bring me into his events, let me get promo and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And I think that was one of the things I remember for real is when I went to Vibe, because this is all brand new for me still. I'm just now breaking out of Atlanta, really traveling, and to go to a Vibe rollout and see, Tip in real form, I'll never forget that day. I never forget gracing the cover, the double XL cover. What's that? The cover? I think it's double XL or the Source. But we all was on the cover. Me, T.I., Young Dro, 8 Ball, and MJG at that time because they were signed over there too. So I'm on this cover, bro, with like real Southern legends. Like T.I.'s a legend to me. 8 Ball and MJG, those are legends. I listened to those guys as kids. You know what I'm saying? This is how, so just to be on the cover with these kind of guys, it said a lot about where, my potential level was and, where I was headed,
How hands-on was T.I. with the project, though?
Um, T.I. a very busy man, bro. So you got to think at that time, he wasn't really involved with the process. I had a great engineer. I had great management, Mike Lace, who was actually Big Country's manager too. And I was one of them artists who didn't need the guidance. And it's like, I can't, you know how artists do artist development and all that shit? It's like I came in past all this shit already, bro. It was like I was already, I can't explain it. I did my first show in front of like 20,000. On like a T.I. set. I thought I would have butterflies and be nervous, but I just ran out there like a rock star. Ever since then, they knew like, Shawty not nothing to play with.
How was it getting the chance to go to places like the Grammys, BET 106 in Park, meeting and being around musicians like Justin Timberlake?
Oh man, the experiences they're priceless. Those are priceless experiences for someone who really loves what they do. I have a passion for music. Music is in me. It's in my heart. You know what I'm saying? This is what I love to do it. So to be in a position to where now my talent is allowing me to see different walks of life. My talent is allowing me to see different cultures, different things. And like I say, those things are priceless. First of all, it broadens you as a person when you get to see different things. It broadens your demographic, the way you think. You know what I'm saying? It takes you out of that box and that shell, you know. And like I say, at that time of my career, I felt like I couldn't have been with nobody or signed to anybody at that time but Grand Hustle. I felt like it was just supposed to go that way, you know?
So is there an experience that you never thought would happen that you could share with me?
I never thought this would happen. Speaking of the Futuristic Leland album, these are some things that artists, everybody think you get in the game and you make your own plans, and whatever plans you write down at home, you go out and everything gonna go exactly 1 through 9 the way you wrote it down. Well, I'm here to tell you, shit don't happen like that. In this industry, when shit is out of your control and it's out of your hand, it's out of your control. You know what I'm saying? And everybody who was working the Futuristic Leland album, if you can remember, 08, 09, we went through a recession. We went through a part of time where all these corporate people were just firing ass loads of people. It was happening everywhere, not just in the music record labels. Everybody was downsizing. We just came out of recession in 2008, 2009. This is when I'm coming out. Well, everybody who was working my album, guess what happened to them? Just guess at that time. This is some wild shit. I got the hottest single in the world. I'm preparing to drop my album on Interscope after Soulja Boy, who just did all these numbers. I got the same people working my album. They asked me, they say, who you want to work your album? I said, I want the team that worked Soulja Boy shit, because that was the closest thing I knew I was trying to bleed over to the kids. I was bleeding over to a commercial market, and they did a great job with what they did with him on the come out. And I said, I want those same people. Well, guess what? Hey, man, all those got fired when the recession came. Every person that had something to do with my album, they got fired from the label, bro. It wasn't because they did anything wrong. We was going through a recession, and people were downsizing their structure. So guess what? LA had to take that hit. That shit a lot of shit up, bro.
That's crazy, man.
When they got fired, bro, my whole push up, and not to mention that, you know, I'm signed to T.I. and Grand Hustle at the time, and now T.I. is starting to have issues that he's dealing with legally. All that shit can slow everything down. That means the boss is slowing down. He's going through what he's going through legally. Everyone who was just working your record, Leland Austin, your album, they just got fired. And on top of that, on the release of Futuristic Love, guess who passes away? One of the greatest of all time. At that time, Michael Jackson. If you remember when Michael Jackson passed, he passed right around the time release of Futuristic Love. So, you know, when you get a new record, you got to go for ads to radio to get the record up. You see what I'm saying? You send it out and you go for ads. And how many stations add your record? That's how you see an urban record. They might post the #1 added record in radio. Well, guess what? I got the hottest single out. I'm coming with Futuristic Love. But at that time,
I can't get any ads on radio because the radio station not playing nothing but the king, who is Michael Jackson. Those are three big steps that had a lot to do with my album never coming out. A lot of people thought, oh, they didn't drop his album, they put him on the shelf for whatever reason, they did this. Nah, but these are the things that happened. I remember when I heard the news from my manager, I'm like, what the hell you mean everybody fired? Like, what do that mean for Young LA? Like, the hottest, like, what does that mean for me? And it wasn't good. Just as far as my come out, not saying that it stopped me, because it never stopped me. Now, do you feel disappointment in the sour taste in your mouth after something like that? You definitely do. Because, I mean, not only is my album not out, I got the still one of the hottest records in the world right now, ain't I? So that was a hard pill for me to swallow, bro. It was.
I want you to tell me about your connection with Young Dro.
Man, that's my brother right there. That's my brother for life. Because he believed in the shit before it even got there. He believed when he just seen, just a little hood LA, just dusty, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that, but in the hood, we don't take showers for like 2 days. We be out on the block and shit, so you might have on the same clothes 2-3 days. You see what I'm saying? I was still at LA, and Dro took interest then. He believed then at a time when I needed somebody to believe. In the position that I was in, I didn't have much. I didn't really have shit. You know what I'm saying? May sold a little weed or did a little something, just hustling and shit to keep a little couple dollars and shit like that. But Dro changed the atmosphere just by believing, just by pulling up them times he pulled up. So that's my brother for life.
So tell me about creating that duet project with Young Dro. Is that something that you ever expected to be released on Grand Hustle?
I never seen that coming. They was calling us the new Redman and Method Man. And to even be mentioned in that same category as a Method and a Red, these are iconic guys. Like, you Method Man and Redman, these guys will just eat you to pieces when it comes to lyrics. So you been out, you know what I'm saying? Like, to be mentioned in that company, that says a lot, bro. I never seen an album coming, but I tell you, that was the biggest release of my career. That was almost like my album. Put it like that. Futuristic Leland didn't come out on Interscope, but the closest thing to an album for me was Black Boy, White Boy.
So what type of distribution did that get, though? Did Grand Hustle end up jumping behind that?
Yeah, they got all behind that. Like, that was one of the biggest projects. That's what kept it afloat. That's what kind of kept shit, right in that crease, because that came out at a vital time. You know what I'm saying? This was right before, like, a lot of the legal stuff, you know what I'm saying, that we all had the experience, you know what I'm saying, at the label with our boss at that time, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the tapes that kind of, you know what I mean, kept shit riding out, and after that, I had the SunTrust Leland, but like I say, Black Boy, White Boy, culture, that's on the wall, that's never coming down, that's a classic.
Facts. Did T.I. going to jail really shut down a lot of things at Grand Hustle?
Yeah, it definitely made a difference. It slowed a lot of stuff down. Everybody know I was nominated at the BET Awards. That same right after Tip caught that the initial stuff, and he had to go away. Right at the beginning of that, the BET Awards came up, and I'm nominated for best video, best collaboration. Ain't I? I think I won one of the fan favorite awards, but we were supposed to perform at the BET Awards that year, but Tip wasn't there. And at a situation like that, it's a lot of politics. They wanted to see T.I. on that stage with where that song had made it to, and they had every right to feel like that, I guess, at that time. A lot of stuff I didn't understand being young. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what is going on? Like, I just always think, you know what I'm saying? And it made me feel a certain way, like, was going hard for me? Are they really pushing for me? Like, what's going, you know what I'm saying? It made me question a lot of stuff, And I tell you what, man, I didn't get to bless the stage that year, but I know if I would have had the chance to bless that stage, it would have been crazy. Probably would have brought the award home also, you know what I'm saying?
So you began work on your album, Futuristic Leland. How did T.I. and the label feel about the title?
We never really spoke on how they felt about the title. I just was, one thing about me, I'm an A-Ridge, bro. I'm a Ram head. And when I'm on something, I'm on it. Like, this who I am. I'm comfortable in my bag. Leland is my birth name. So you better not have a problem with me calling my album Leland. You know what I'm saying? This the name I was blessed with by my mom. Like, and you know, this is futuristic Leland. Like, out at that time, the game had never seen nothing like me. That's why it was halfway like people thought it was a joke, and then it was halfway like some people was with it, because it was like, I wasn't scared to change the temperature of the industry. I don't give a damn what no nigga think about me. I'm from Somerville Heights Projects. I don't give a what nobody thinks. I know who I am, know where I'm from, and I'm very confident in it. That's why I could walk and do a lot of the stuff that I do still to this day. The crazy haircut, still to this day. The skinny, still to this day. The same way I came in is it wasn't no gimmick. Like, I was built like that was already me for real. You know what I'm saying?
Correction. The dope haircuts. I'll throw in a picture of one of my haircuts, most likely inspired by you, my man. How did parting ways with Grand Hustle and Interscope come about in 2011?
I think when Tip was gone, like I said, a lot of the business just went on point. With him, he's the catapult of the business. He's the breadwinner and everything. You know what I'm saying? So at that time, I just don't think the connection between Interscope and Grand Hustle was the best. Because, Young LA wasn't signed directly to Interscope. If you looked at my videos, it was Interscope / Grand Hustle. I had 2 record deals at one time. So Interscope was in business with Grand Hustle first, not Young LA. You see what I'm saying? And I just think it was a hard time, you know what I'm saying? And I think the connection just kind of fell by the wayside. When you were executive at Interscope, and you might call it executive Grand Hustle, you can't get a hold of them, or, it's stuff like, all the small stuff matter over there, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what kind of caused the separation for real, you know what I'm saying? For them to kind of back out, especially after Futuristic Love, which to not my control didn't do the platinum numbers that Ain't I did, how that played a part, because at that time it wasn't no streams and shit. Streaming just came about, so you had to actually sell hard copies. Futuristic Leland, my album, had 100-something thousand pre-sale orders. That means that those was already bought. You see what I'm saying? So I was mad when my album kept getting pushed back, because I'm like, if I already got 130,000 pre-sales, if you drop the album, I'm going to go gold.
That's crazy to hear.
I don't know if they wanted gold. I guess they wanted platinum. I think Interscope wanted platinum. And, they pushed the album back and tried to release Futuristic Love and, get that one to get to the stature of Ain't I, and then release the album. But, I don't know much about, at that time and at that point, the music business or how shit should be released or rolled out. But I definitely feel like if they would have released it with the 130,000 pre-sales, I would have went gold. And in this day and time, if you come out with a gold single right now and get the streaming money, everything has changed in the game. The money is different, the way you go about it.
LA, honestly, Interscope has a history of doing that to records. When they begin to catch steam, they'll think it's not enough and they'll push it back about 3 months to try and generate, some interest in it. How did Interscope break it to you that they were going to shelf your album, Futuristic Leland?
They didn't break it to me. Because like I say, they don't owe LA an explanation, because Young LA is not signed to Interscope. Like, when you see my shit come up, it's not Interscope Records. It's Interscope / Grand Hustle. So they informed the Grand Hustle execs, and the Grand Hustle execs informed me. Shit crazy how business go, ain't it?
Yeah, that is crazy, man. So you release Ain't I, and then you have Futuristic Love. Why did you decide to go so far different on Futuristic Love? What were you trying to show the people with that record?
That's not the record we chose for my follow-up. And that's why I say, man, I feel like we had it right. We didn't choose Futuristic Love. Of course, Interscope chose Futuristic Love because it's a big-ass commercial-sounding record. Mainstream as hell, and if you know record labels, that fits towards what record labels like to do. We didn't want to go with that record. We told them in the meeting what the next record was and what was the next hit. And if they would have went with how we went, I promise you, I would be, and you know, it would have been a way different turnout. Do you know what record we said? We told them in the meeting, we didn't want no fucking futuristic love, man. LA just dropped Ain't I? You think I'm trying to come my second single? I need that. That's a third single, fourth type single to me. It's not a second single.
So you never voiced this to T.I.?
Nah, we didn't really voice it. I mean, my whole team was in the meeting at Interscope, like, you know, and it was almost kind of like you in one of those situations, like, man, we got them with us. Let's just go with how they want to roll it out. You know what I'm saying? Before we, you know, because it's the first release, let's try to just. But I wanted to go with 36 O's featuring Lil Boosie. I mean, at that fucking time, bro, 36 O's was my next biggest fucking street record. It was generating so crazy all over the world. I remember going to Baltimore, Maryland. I remember going to Virginia, D.C. This record was fucking... And then Boosie jumped on it. And if you remember at that time, Boosie was the southern GOAT motherfucker. Like, what? You can't... Boosie was blazing shit. And I had Boosie, I'm talking about from the southeastern region, Boosie had this shit up, Midwest, everything. And when I put Boosie on 36 O's, that was supposed to be my second single. Look at that rollout. You come out your first single with T.I. and Young Dro. Your second look is with Lil Boosie.
The most gangster on the underground circuit.
Man, what the do you mean, man? On a beat from K.E., on a futuristic trap beat, 36 O's? Man, come on, man.
So Interscope didn't understand that.
They didn't understand it, you know, and that's what people tell you about, you know, record labels and a lot of A&Rs and exec. They're not in tune. They're in the offices. So whatever comes to them, that's what they're not in tune with really what's going on in the streets for real. And I don't think they seen what I seen in 36 O's, but those were the kind of records that, you know, I feel like I would have been one of the first artists blazing a trend on those kind of sounding records being the biggest singles in the world. You see what I'm saying? Because now, if it don't sound like those are the biggest sounds right now. You know what I'm saying? You got, you know, a lot of artists winning with the street sound and those records like that, and they going to the top. You know, and at that time, it wasn't nothing that sounded like 36 O's. And I just
pull that up.
And not to mention, I had the biggest record in the world. So you come back with Lil Boosie, it's like, oh, it's a wrap.
It would have showed how authentic you were as well. When you first got out of jail, a little bit earlier last year, you got the chance to go to a music video shoot with Boosie and Zaytoven. Can you tell me about connecting with Boosie right out of jail?
Yeah, man. Shout out to my good brother, Zay. You know what I'm saying? He been a good brother. He responsible for my career. You know what I'm saying?
Salute Zay.
Because, I mean, you know, he gave me my first shot professionally. The shot he gave me showcased my talent. Got me 2 major record deals. Got the #1, like, everything. You know what I'm saying? And he's a good friend. He's a friend of mine first. You know what I'm saying? A mentor, a brother. Someone that I've seen just a class act, bro. I mean, if I had to pattern myself after a guy, man, I promise it'd be Xavier Dotson. You know what I'm saying? And just coming home, you know, I'm excited to see Zay. You know what I'm saying? Because we used to being around each other, working. You know what I'm saying? So to go to the video shoot and then see my boy Boosie and Zay working together, and you know, have a relationship with Boosie, have a relationship with Zay, it felt great, bro. It's like, you know, I've been gone for 2.5 years, like 27 months, like 2 years and 3 months. And, you know, I miss this shit. You know I miss it. It's on my love. You know, I'm a motherfucker. I can't wait to get, you know, I just touch down and get back to what I love. You never know how much you love something until it's stripped away from you. And it's taken all the way from you.
Big facts.
And then you can measure how much you love what you do. You know what I'm saying? And I really seen, like, man, I really love what I do. And, like I say, getting a chance to just get out, pop back out on the scene with Zay and Boosie. Big look. I had plenty of fun. And like I say, shout out to Boosie, shout out to Zay. But we working, man. It's up right now. Shit's crazy. It's crazy on my R&B. You know I'm still creating new sounds. You already know I'm still trendsetting. This shit, man, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
So tell me, what did Boosie have to say to you that day? You know, Boosie came home a few years back What do you have to say to you, Fresh Home, though? Any encouraging words?
He just was embracive, you know what I'm saying? He's always been embracive of me, just as a person, you know what I'm saying? And it was just all love, you know what I'm saying? It was love. I don't even think he was aware that I was just getting out. I don't even think he was aware, you know what I'm saying, for real. So we didn't talk about that, but it was just an embrace, you know what I'm saying? When he seen me, it was like, bro, you know what I'm saying? It was all love, it was all good vibes. So, and it's always like that every time I run in the booth.
Now, you mentioned that you had him on the record 36 O's. Where did your relationship with Boosie actually begin, L.A.?
When I had a chance to get a feature on 36 O's and I had a chance to get a feature on We In This Thing, I felt like We In This Thing should have came after the Boosie feature. Because We In This Thing, I had Cameron and Vado on it. If you remember the years that was, Cameron, that was Rico. Like, that's my favorite artist, bro. Like, I am a fan of Cam. I'm talking about, bro, I might be the biggest Cameron fan.
And salute to Vado as well.
And salute to Vado. And I was just always a fan of Dipset, bro, and just everything they did. So when I got it, and then Paid in Full happened, you know what I'm saying? And I got to see Cam play Rico, and it was like, bro, if I, when I had the opportunity to get him on that record, when I got a chance to get an East Coast feature, I told Jason Jeter, I knew who I wanted. I want Cameron. And that should have been my setup. It should have been Ain't I featuring Young Dro and T.I. It should have been 36 O's featuring Lil Boosie, and it should have been We In This Thing featuring Cameron. If it happens in that order, man, wow. I just sold it up, you know?
Yep, and then seal the deal with Futuristic Love.
And then you seal the deal with Futuristic Love. I had 4 records that were ready, and I just don't think that the people seen the vision. But it's like that when you're a new artist and you're pushing a new narrative. You're going to take some bumps and bruises. Some people not going to understand what you're trying to do until other people start to do some of the things that you're doing, and they start to see the trends pop up in the industry. They start to hear the sound pop up in different places, and then it all comes together like, damn, this is a movement. He was the beginning and the start of a whole new culture and generation of artists.